Welcome to the Soul Revival Podcast, where we have deep and meaningful conversations exploring modalities, tools, and healing, guiding you back to your most expansive soul self. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Soul Revival Podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Stanton, and this is an episode that is going to be a little bit unique. So, what I want to do with this episode, and Spirit's been kind of tapping me the last few days to record this episode, but really pulling together some concepts that I've discussed myself as well as with guests throughout different episodes of the podcast and kind of tying them all together in a really intentional way that I think is going to probably shine some light for some people. And I think is going to be eye-opening. So I was definitely guided to record this episode. And what I want to tie together is I have talked a lot over the years about Gary Zukav's work and not just his work, but the whole idea of, and Jamie Wheeler talks about this in his books as well, but the idea that we consciously chose, our souls chose this exact time in this incarnation to come to Earth School, as Gary Zukav calls it, to help rise the collective. And through our own growth and expansion, we're able to not only, help and provide healing to others as they enter into their growth and expansion journeys, but also we raise the energetic vibration. So by doing deep healing work, it has so much purpose because not only are we healing ourselves, but we're creating a ripple effect in the energy that we put out into the world. And we're also creating shifts generationally. And that is going to impact not just us and any reincarnation that we might do in the future, but it is up leveling everybody that comes behind us. And when we think about how we as souls come here and our unique energy, our unique blueprint is meant to speak to the exact audience that is meant to hear that specific vibration. Like our energetic footprint is akin to our fingerprint, and the fact that our unique teachings, our way of delivering healing, and the souls that we're meant to help are specific to us in this exact incarnation. And when we think about this in tandem with the concepts, which I would say are more than concepts, the realities of Gary Zukav's teaching in regards to like being an authentic power, being multisensory humans versus, just in in the five senses, which I'm going to dive deeper into in a minute. When we think about that in combination with our objective as a soul to help rise the collective, and we think about that in connection with our animal companions. So in the episode, just for example, the episode I recorded this season with Tammy Billups, we talked about our animals as way showers. And I'm sure we've all experienced this. I know I certainly have. I definitely talked about a few different ways in the episode we recorded, but I have so many more. And it goes back to fundamentally, I think, a shift in my ability to recognize and connect into more of my spiritual self and really truly helping me become the universal human that Gary talks about through signs and messages and ways that things were delivered to me from my animal companions here in the physical world, as well as once they transitioned on the other side, really being way showers for me and really being way showers on my entire purpose. And so I want to dive into this because if we think about our animal companions and we kind of zoom out and we think about them as a representation of nature and how much nature helps us ground, be connected back to our soul self, to the true essence of why we're here, and to shut out the noise of the matrix. Nature helps us instantly connect back into what's true, into a heart-based gratitude center, into a grounded energy, and helps us individually to raise our vibration whenever we need it, or even if our vibration's already high and we just want to tap more into that energy easier. Nature is always a pathway. And so because of that, when you think that of that in correlation with your animal companions being way showers for you, it's just totally logical that they're here to help us unlock specific things that are needed in our blueprint as healers, and even if you don't air quotes identify as a healer, I would guarantee anybody listening to this podcast, you are a healer, even if it's within your own nucleus of family, community, and the area that you're in. But us as healers and us in community with each other, and how the animals in and outside of our home have helped spotlight different things that we need to see, whether it's in our own healing and recognizing their patterns mirroring ours, like what Tammy was talking about during our episode that we recorded. If it's you recognizing through witnessing, bearing witness to their connection, their gratitude, their unrestricted love, all of that is exactly what Gary talks about when he shines light on this idea of becoming multisensory and recognizing that you are a spiritual, immortal self before you are a human self in this meat suit, as he calls it. All of that ties back to this with our animals, and they help us to recognize that purpose in this incarnation. And on so many ways, large scale, like across the board, zooming out, they help us see the clear purpose of everything. And then zooming in, they help us with our own unique medicine that is meant for us. Thank you for listening to the Soul Revival Podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Stanton. I want to give you a special offer for all those who leave us a 5-star review. All you have to do is take a screenshot of that 5-star review, email it to info@thesoulrevival.com, and every month we're going to be giving away 30 days of the community membership. 30 days of community membership. That's 30 days of being around like-minded people who are on their spiritual expansion journey. All you have to do is give us a 5-star review, snap a screenshot, and email it to info@thesoulrevival.com. Thank you so much for listening. To help us heal, and the unique medicine that we're meant to bring into the world to help everybody else to release the idea of the matrix and to really tap into their soul self, and to release fear-based parts of themselves, to release attachment to fears that might be generational. They might be negative self-talk. It could be from a variety of different things that it needs to be released. It could be just cultural indoctrination of negative thoughts and fear-based ideas. But releasing hold of that, and how our animals get us there. And when you look at the definition of authentic power, which Gary Zukav talks so much about, it is through love and compassion that we get there, and releasing the fear-based ideologies, and being able to recognize fears-based parts of ourselves and do the work to be able to release them, going inside ourselves to figure out the connective tissue to our soul self, to be able to release those more human fear-based thought patterns and energies that we might be attaching to. And when we look at our animal companions and how they always represent this beautiful, unconditional love. They anchor us into compassionate love. We're definitely not perfect for them, and we, don't always serve them well as a collective or individually. We all are at fault for doing things, or saying or doing things that we wish we'd done better with our animal companions, and yet they always come back to love, gratitude, compassion for us, and forgiveness. And in this way, they're just the most beautiful way showers for us to help us tap into this larger, bigger, more expansive soul mastery of being immortal and being, the soul based human first versus a meat suit based human first. So, the more these concepts were, and like I said, they're not concepts, they're realities, but the more I recognize them as realities, the more these things were kind of marinating in my head. Spirit was really pulling me to do this episode to tie all this together that, our spirituality is our power. And this is where we really drive authentic ability to love and to be in our own power and not have to depend on outside influence, outside validations, outside material objects, but really anchoring into love, just like our animal companions, just like they do in general, and then just as they do for us in every single way possible. And allowing ourselves to look at the amazing gift that they provide just in their way of being, and that way of being as such a beautiful, powerful presence. And I think this is so awesome. And I'm like so thankful that Spirit led me down this path to connect all these concepts and realities together in a very intentional way and to start to shift think about our animals in our lives, whether it's animals out in nature, animals in our homes, all the ways that they influence us as individuals and they influence us as a collective, and the beauty in that, and how they're here showing our entire species, our entire human species, the way. And how, when we really zoom out and look at it from a large perspective of all of the true power, that we want to talk about authentic power, all the true power that they hold, even when we oftentimes, try to dominate them, and they don't necessarily get treated the way they should be treated, and they aren't respected in the ways that they should be respected. But when we really look at how they're able to carry themselves in just pure love and total heart-based anchored energy, they're a way shore for us as a species, as a humans. We need to be looking at them and seeing all the ways that they're helping us collectively, individually, and the power that this holds and the power that they represent. We talk about being healers and doing the deep work, and how that ripples out to rise the collective. They're rippling out and rising the collective as well, and probably on an even more larger scale because of everything that they represent from love and light. So I just had to this episode, I felt very drawn to record. Like I said, Spirit's been guiding me. I've been feeling the push to record this episode for the last few days, and as many times things conceptually come to me, I'll get like little nuggets of information and concepts drip together in a really intentional way. And then all the pieces start to come together. And that's definitely how Spirit led me to record this podcast episode. But I would encourage you today to reflect on all the ways individually and collectively, community wise, and even expanding out universally, how you see animals influence us as humans and help us be better, help us raise our vibration, help us to heal. So that is, I would encourage you today to take action, and whether it's 5 minutes or you start thinking about it throughout your day, which I would encourage, really start to think about that and pay attention to the ways that you're being impacted by this and the ways we're being collectively impacted by their amazing energy. So that is today's episode. I will catch you next week, but if you feel drawn, of course, there's always if you're in the Soul Revival private membership, then I would love to have a deep conversation about this. The other route to have a conversation about this topic is through the Soul Revival Facebook group, which is completely free to everybody who joins. Jump on there and let's have a conversation about this. I think this is such an important conversation to be had. Thank you so much. If this episode resonated with you, that's not a coincidence. That is Spirit leading you to where you are meant to be. Choose soul expansion, choose community, choose growth. Join us at our sacred community where healing is better because we do it together. Go to www.thesoulrevival.com.